Alright, I'm back with another Destiny 2 video, back on the grinds as we get into the season here. I talked about how I'm really digging this season to start with here, Season of the Witch. Good activities, good story. I don't know, just it feels good so far, and we'll see how that goes, but so far so good. I wanted to kind of flash back to the showcase and combine that with a few other things that have come up since then, where one thing that keeps coming up is the idea of what happens after the final shape. And Bungie said some things about that and did not say other things, leading many to wonder what kind of support Destiny 2 will have past this, and what exactly is that going to look like, what amount of resources are being put into that, and we don't exactly know. What we do know is what they said is that they are changing up how seasons work, and they are cutting a season and making it 3 episodes as opposed to 4 seasons, and then each of those 3 episodes are divided up into 3 acts. They have this graphic, I'll put that up, where they've given us some information about these. We have the names, Echoes, Revenant, and Heresy. We have the enemy race that will be the focus, Vex, with a weird-looking goblin head. Revenant is about the Scorn, Heresy is about the Hive, and then each of these have 3 acts. Within those acts, you can see what is introduced in Act 1 and the following acts. I think almost everything, they're saying that new stuff will trickle out kind of within those 3 acts. Each act will be 6 weeks long. New quests, new story, new activities, new weapons, artifact mods, pass ranks, pass rewards, and new armor. And I think it's showing that all of these except new armor will appear in Act 2 and Act 3 for all of these. So that's interesting. You get new artifact mods every 6 weeks, new pass ranks. I don't know. Like I'm assuming that's what these icons correspond with, which is a little odd, but that appears to be the plan here. And what Bungie will not say and will not commit to publicly or privately, because I've asked, is whether or not they're going to keep doing the big expansion model, where every year they release a big expansion and sell that with a whatever edition, premium edition, to get all the seasons and whatever. But they're only talking about how there are going to be new episodes. These episodes break the seasonal model in the sense that you can play them in any order. These stories are not connected together the way we've seen flowing seasons. I think part of this may be transition between, Final Shape and what comes next, and then part of it may be people were kind of getting tired of not being able to drop into, the second or third season of the year and have no idea about what happened earlier in the year, which, it did create a more coherent narrative when that happened and you were keeping up with it, but it was also perhaps unfriendlier to players dropping in and out. So we'll see exactly, what that looks like. And they keep saying that, overall, these are going to be beefier because they can do more with longer seasons, essentially, more loots, more cinematics, more stuff like that. It remains to be seen if this will be more in total than 4 seasons would be otherwise, or if it's just formatted differently. But the main question is, how is this going to continue? And it is hard for me to believe that they're going to just drop the expansion model, namely because I think they want to make money. And I don't think Destiny 2 support, or Destiny support in general, is going to taper off as much as people think, because Bungie still needs to print money from Destiny. And to print money from Destiny, you still have to make engaging Destiny content that makes people want to continually show up and pay you $100 a year, or $50 an expansion, or $15 an episode, or whatever. And if you stop doing that, the money faucet turns off, and surprise, you can no longer fund all of your other incubator projects unless you're, begging for money from Sony directly. We know that they are focusing on these other projects, Marathon, and then this new Frog game, this codename Gummy Bears game, which is some sort of lighthearted MOBA platformer battler thing. But those are not guaranteed to be sprawling breakout hits. A PvP extraction game is still a pretty niche type of format. Yes, like Tarkov is very popular, but there's no guarantee that that's going to work. Whereas Destiny has been essentially guaranteed to just keep earning money indefinitely. As we've talked about, is vibes are bad, like Lightfall was bad, but Lightfall was also the highest player count peak, at least by Steam, in Destiny history. And the game's old expansions still sell, the game's new seasons still sell, and Bungie does not want to just stop doing that. This is not like a Halo situation where they're going to be like, oh, we did 10 years of Halo, that's great, we want to move on to our big new something else thing. They have been very clear, and I think why they wanted to talk about this at all in the episodes is to show that Destiny 2 is not ending support. I also think they don't want to talk about the next expansion, not because there's not going to be an expansion, but because I don't think they want to take away focus from the final shape. Like, I guess they could confirm that there is an expansion, and like that would be the baseline, but I wouldn't expect them to even name it at this point, unless people extract too much information from that maybe, or maybe they don't even have a name finalized yet. I think what could change is the cadence of release. Bungie was never really wild about the Activision schedule, which was originally Destiny 1, big expansion, Destiny 2, big expansion, Destiny 3. Like, that was supposed to be what it is. And they stopped doing that, and instead they just made, instead of a whole new game every 2 years, they kept making, large expansions, and then eventually they put seasons in between them. But expansions have grown and grown in size, over the years. Okay, so Forsaken was bigger than most of them. But in general, we've seen them be more expansive than some of the lesser ones in the past. Like, I would say definitely, Witch Queen and Lightfall, for all its faults, and no doubt Final Shape are going to be bigger than like Shadowkeep and Beyond Light at the very least. So more and more work has been put into those. Combined with all of the work that has gone into seasons, and the content of seasons has also dramatically increased, I do wonder if we've kind of gotten on another unsustainable schedule where maybe they won't want to do expansions literally every single year, end of February, without fail. That said, the current episodic thing here ends in February, so that would line up with another expansion. I just don't think they're going to stop making expansions because they do not want to stop having Destiny cost essentially $100 a year. I've said many times, I think they can do some rearranging with their monetization. I hate the Dungeon Pass. I hate that they're not making some of the oldest expansions free, etc., etc. But that is what I think the plan is. There's a couple new Joe Blackburn interviews here that are circulating. The one I read so far is the one from The Verge, where some people are like a little freaked out about it, where he says like support for Destiny 2 will continue, and some are interpreting that as like him like unenthusiastically saying that, and like rather than like we got such great things in store, and like I don't know. I think that could be misinterpreted. Like, I don't know if I would read too much into like support for Destiny 2 will continue. Like, it's going on life support, like the Division 2 or something did eventually. Division 2 is eventually repeating old seasons as a way to keep its live service alive. And like, I don't think we're heading there. Not necessarily because like, oh, I just have so much faith in Bungie and I'm just such a shill and I love them so much. Like, it's a money thing. It's a money thing where they need a live service game that is already successful, already bankable to continue. And Joe says some other things in here about how like, the stories that they're going to pick up from here and then in the episodes themselves are going to be things that it's like, you don't need a PhD in Destiny lore or the Light and Darkness saga to like know what's going on. So those are going to be kind of more self-contained stories. And then they've talked about, new sagas for Destiny. And my theory has always been, I believe we will continue to get Destiny 2 sagas, aka expansions, and now episodes for the rest of this console generation. I believe there may be a generational reset 3-4 more years down the line whenever that happens, and maybe that's when we get a full transition, but they've been very clear that A, Destiny 2 is not converting to Destiny 3, and B, that Destiny 2 is continuing on with new content. And it just comes off to me like they don't want to talk about a bunch of stuff past the final shape because they still want to be hyping up the final shape alone as the thing you can pre-order right now, and they don't want to really distract from that by talking about other future expansions. And they release the episodic thing because they're like, yes, there is something coming. This is what's coming. There's not tons of specific details, but this is how we're changing the format. So, like, don't worry. Destiny still exists. You itching? Yeah. So that is how I interpret things. And we probably won't know the truth of that for a while. I mean, Final Shape is still 6 months away, and then we begin the episodes. We don't know when they will start confirming what happens at the end of the episodes. I would just be shocked if there were no more expansions, and then we're just doing episodes from now on. So we have 3 episodes a year, and those just keep going. It's not enough money. Like, they want those $100 bundles, and these are being sold for essentially like $15 an episode, which seasons are now $12. So, like, it's pretty much the same, if not a couple bucks cheaper. I don't know. It depends what bundles you're getting and a lot of other things. So, and we don't know what the bundles may be for something like this. Well, we do know, actually, because you can get the Lightfall bundle, which comes with the episodes, which is like the same. So it's interesting. I don't think everyone needs to freak out and that, like, support for Destiny is ending or going into maintenance mode. It essentially can't happen. They need Destiny players to still be engaged, to still be spending money. And while they may change the format, the timing, like whatever, I still think they are going to be devoting significant time and resources, more than Marathon, more than Gummy Bears or all these other incubation projects, because it is an established success and it is clear that a good amount of the community, which is millions and millions of people and hundreds of thousands of daily players, do not want to let go. As much as we complain, as much as players fluctuate and go up and down, and the end of seasons they drop and whatever, like, this is still a very successful, healthy game, and you're not going to just drop that, especially when you've just been acquired mainly based on the success of that game and the promise that that game is essentially funding all of these other projects. If Marathon is some crazy hit and it's League of Legends or Fortnite, like, maybe that changes, but that is A, a couple of years off at the very least, and B, probably unlikely. Like, it feels like best case for Marathon is, like, it becomes Valorant. I know some people hate Valorant, but, like, that quality, like, in terms of what it means. Where, like, League of Legends is still Riot's biggest thing by a good margin, but Valorant exists as this other healthy-ish offshoot that, that's also something they're doing. And, like, League of Legends isn't dead, and League of Legends is still making content and printing tons of money, but they want multiple successful, simultaneous things going on. So that's just sort of how I'm interpreting things. You can interpret things your own way. I know, Joe's going to say a lot of quotes, and I don't know how much we can read into, like, literally everything, because we've seen him be like, in the past, like, no, that's not what I meant, and then have to, like, explain himself. And, like, so I wouldn't take any individual quote, like, as representative as some, like, definitive answer of, like, okay, they're just doing the bare minimum for Destiny going forward. But, so yeah, that's my thoughts. Let me know what you think, and I'll talk to you later. Take care.